if God exists, why do bad things happen in the world? Why is there so much suffering?
Who promised you that things are going to be good? Because God exists. His existence still doesn't mean anything. God controls the entire reality, and the entire reality, the good and the bad, is sustained and developed only by Him, by this global and universal force, in order to lead us to the recognition of evil and the recognition of good. For this, He has to influence us by two forces, the good and the ziv bad forces. And since we're feeling beings, then only by these two reins can we advance.
How can we grasp that all this evil is coming from God Himself?
There's none else besides Him. There's only one acting force in the whole of reality.
And He is that good and loving God that...
And also the bad that does all the bad.
So you're saying that all of this is happening in order to advance us?
Were He not to influence us in a positive and negative way, or we're in the middle, then we'd have no free choice.
To choose what?
To choose whatever you want, the good or the bad, or beyond good and bad.
Okay.
And so, this is where we are, in a very special and complex system, very non-simple. But it's what actually gives us the freedom of choice, to choose between the good and the bad. And it actually allows us to become like God, knowing good and bad.
So how can evil come from good? How is it possible that evil is coming from a source that is good and loving?
The force acting upon us is good, but because we're in contrast with it, then our oppositeness from God makes us feel bad.
What do you mean by oppositeness?
Oppositeness means that He always bestows good, and we don't really want that good, because what He sees as good is bestow, love, connection between everyone, and so on. And we don't really want that because of our egoistic nature. And so we feel His providence as something bad.
What exactly don't we want in this goodness? I mean, we want to feel good, we want to be good, we want there to be love.
We want for us to feel good, according to what we think good is, but not according to what God sees as good.
I'm trying to understand what exactly is the difference between what I perceive as good and His good.
His good is that each of us cares for everyone else. And our good is that each of us cares only for himself.
So good means not that I will feel good, but some kind of altruistic good, that everyone will feel good.
Yeah, I can't think only about my own good. Because God, He thinks globally about all the created beings together. And if I do not think about everyone, I miss some part of creation. Then, correspondingly, I cause harm to that part, and therefore, I deserve some kind of punishment. But punishment isn't punishment, it's correction, by which I start understanding what does He want of me? Where am I still not working correctly?
So how do we reach this goodness, that we feel Him is good, the world is good?
Only by studying the wisdom of Kabbalah in a small group, where we can realize all of the laws of the global and comprehensive nature, and from that we learn how to relate to the whole of nature and God together.
So in order for us to feel good and not suffer, we each need to become more integral, more global in our approach.
This is the main thing.
And then will suffering end?
There won't be any suffering. Our entire suffering is because we're all disconnected.
And is this a global vision or a personal vision?
It's a global, mutual vision that at the end of our corrections, we return to be as the one soul of Adam HaRishon, literally meaning the first Adam. Well, okay, it's not clear what I said, but
as one body.
As one desire, one intention, with God inside us.
And why is that what's good? Why will that make us feel better?
Because by this we chase away all the bad influences, all the bad feelings.
Like what, for example? If we're connected as one body, will we not feel empty, lonely, separate?
By that, we bring ourselves back to the beginning of creation, where we were all together connected in one body, and this is why we felt ourselves in a state of good called the Garden of Eden. This is how it's called. So we'll return to that.